Hi, it's 2 nights before Christmas, and I am on Cranberry Relish duty, having Christmas over at my brother's. And since I got to do this, I figured I'd record it for you. This is a family uh, relish that's been made for years. I'm sure it's not uh, just our family that did it. I'm sure many people have done it. But my mom made it, her mom made it, and probably her mom made it. I don't know how far back it goes. It's very simple, uh, and I'm going to show you what the ingredients are. First, of course, cranberries. I've got 2 bags of cranberries, 2 oranges, 2 cups of sugar, a little bit of salt to cut the bitterness of the cranberries. And what makes this fun is we've always done it with an old hand crank grinder. This is what makes it fun. Otherwise, it's just preparing more food. And so I'm going to screw it onto the edge of the table here. Right there. And it just clamps on. It's an old kitchen table, so I don't care if it's not going to mar the wood. Okay, so you've got your grinder, you've got your ingredients. I got a stainless steel bowl here. I'm going to wash the cranberries. I've got a dish to catch the cranberries and orange juice as they get ground up, and a spoon to scoop it out of the way. You'll see why. So, I'm going to go wash the cranberries, cut up the oranges, because you need to be able to fit them into the grinder. And I'll be back in just a few minutes. Okay, we're back. That didn't take as long as I thought. All right, what I've done is I've rinsed the cranberries. Just get some water in there, just kind of roll them around, drain off the water, do it again. I do it 2 times. The orange, you leave the peel on and just slice it up so you can fit it in your grinder. Now, when I said this is an old family recipe, I didn't mean our family made it up. It's on the package of cranberries. So if you can't remember, it's a very simple recipe. If you can't remember, it's on the package. Okay, now what makes this fun, and like I said, we've been doing this for years, and when I was probably, well, I don't know how old, when my sister had her first child, Lindsay, Lindsay would come over, probably 4 years old, to help make the cranberry relish. Now, she may have been 3 because she didn't call it cranberry relish. She called it Cran Goo Goo. And we've been calling it Cran Goo Goo ever since. Lindsay is now 34 years old. So, what you're going to do is just take some of the cranberries, put it in the grinder. Now, we've always used a grinder. Package says put the fruits in a food processor and pulse. What fun is that? This is fun. Go out, if you don't have one, if your grandmother doesn't have one, go to a flea market or something and buy one of these things just to make this. It's fun. All right, now you just kind of fill it in, and you're going to have to keep your hand on the top, otherwise they'll pop out. Now what's going to happen is, as the fruits get ground up, because this is an old style grinder, juices are going to drip out the bottom. Not a lot. I mean, it's not a steady stream, just drip, 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 drip. I've got a cup down there. I'm going to save the cranberry juice. Cranberry juice is very good for you. Good for urinary tract infections. and to keep from getting urinary tract infections. So you just start grinding and grinding, and you kind of put some cranberries in. Let's put an orange in there. You're going to grind it all together. Yep, and there it starts dripping. Now here's where the spoon comes in, because it's going to pile up right there, so move it over. Move it out of the way. Doesn't matter where you put it into the dish, because you're going to blend it all together anyway. Now, this can seem to be a tedious job, but when Lindsay was a little girl, remember I told you she'd come over and help make cranberry relish. She called it Cran Goo Goo, but to keep her, she was very interested in how it was grinding up. But you'll hear the popping of the cranberries. I don't know if you can hear it, but they're popping. My brother and I started making up a story. Well, not a story, actually, just a little. Well, it's not a story. But Lindsay would be putting, her little tiny hands would pick up some, and she'd put them in there for us, or she'd put the orange in, and then would say, "All right, now add some mice." Of course, she'd giggle because she's a little kid and her uncles were being silly. And he says, "Hear that popping? Those are the bones of the mice getting crunched up." I know this probably sounds like a sick story to you, but to a little girl with her uncles, she enjoyed it. And then she'll start saying, "More mice, more mice." So, you just keep grinding it up. And see how it piles up there? I need to move it away. Yep. Now, with the cranberries, these two packages didn't really have any. But sometimes you'll find a cranberry that is kind of mushy, and you might want to throw it away. What does it matter? You're grinding it up. Go ahead and use it. So we'll just keep grinding away like this. More orange. You don't need to wash your oranges too. And make sure you've cut the little stem part out. But the white in the middle, go ahead and leave that in. That adds orange zest flavor to it. I'm just going to grind it all up. And I'm going to show you. It's kind of splashing. But in about half of the, or maybe about a third of the way through, and that's how much juice I'm getting out of there. It's be a nice, tasty little drink when I get done. So we're going to put more in, just keep going at it. And like I say, this can be a tedious job, but if you can get little kids involved, make up your own little story. Or you can tell them it's mice, and those are the crunching their hair is their bones. Of course they know they're not mice because they're not putting mice in there. But you know how uncles can be. They get kind of silly around little kids. At that time, neither my brother or I had children. I never had children. My brother went on to have 3 of his own. But I don't know if he ever made Cran Goo Goo with them. So they may have missed out on this little family tradition. Now, I'm here by myself. I've got no kids, but I'm still doing it. I could put these in the food processor and be done with it in like, 3 minutes. Where's the fun in that? This is tradition, folks. Sometimes you just got to keep traditions going. Well, I guess that's why they call them traditions, because you keep them going. Now, the ingredients, I'm using 2 packs of cranberries. They're 12 ounces each. So, you're going to do 1 orange for each package, okay? And 1 cup of sugar for each package. I'm doing 2 packages. I've got 2 oranges. I've got 2 cups of sugar. Simple math. Just keep grinding them up like this. And you may notice, like right now, it's mostly orange right there. Well, it doesn't matter, because you're going to mix it all together. You can stir in the sugar. It's all going to get blended. And once you've got it stirred in, the orange peels, skin, whatever, kind of takes on the redness of the cranberries. So you're not really going to see orange in it. You're going to taste it. One of the weird things I find about me doing this for a family Christmas dinner, we do it at Christmas and Thanksgiving. My brother had Thanksgiving with his in-laws, so I was invited, but I didn't go. I've got a neighbor across the street who's family. They each have their own Thanksgiving dinner, but then she does one for the entire family. Her sister, son, daughter, grandkids, about, I don't know, 30 people. And she does it on the Saturday after Thanksgiving. So I went to that. I didn't have to make Cran Goo Goo. But what I was going to say is, I'm doing this, and I don't like it. I can take a bite to make sure I've done it right. I've mixed it well. There's enough sugar in it. I put enough salt in it to kill the bitterness of the cranberries, and there's a little bit. There's some bitterness in the rind of the oranges too, of course. But I don't eat this stuff, and yet here I am making it. I like the cranberry sauce that comes in the can. You know, that jiggly stuff you can almost see through. That's what I like. Who knows? Maybe I'll like it this year. I mean, it's not bad. It's just not my thing. My brother loves it. He can just sit down for, leftovers after Thanksgiving or Christmas dinner and just put some in a bowl and eat it. He doesn't have to put it on turkey or anything. He just eats it. I got a weird brother. Everyone has their own taste. Anytime you come across a recipe, make it to your taste. Do it the way the recipe calls it first, of course. But then you might say, oh, that's too sweet, or that's not sweet enough. So the next time you make it, remember that. Add a little more sugar, or don't add as much sugar. Or you don't like that ingredient, leave it out. You think, hey, maybe something else would be good in there too. Maybe some raisins. Put some raisins in it. Recipes, you don't have to stick to them. Do it the way the recipe calls the first time, and then maybe you like it that way. But you can always make anything you want to your taste. And that's the thing with things like this, you know, people make it. It's been made to their taste. I don't like it. I know how it's supposed to taste. Well, I think I know how it's supposed to taste because, you know, once it's all mixed together, everyone would take a bite and say, is that good enough? Does it need more sugar? Does it need more salt? Does it need this? Does it need that? Usually, it didn't need anything. All right, we've got everything ground up. Bowl is empty. Oranges are gone. Scrape some of that off there. And just in case you're wondering, I did wash my hands. Wash everything. I'm fairly clean. Fairly clean. All right. Now, here's what it looks like before it's mixed up. I'm going to level it out a little bit. I'm going to start pouring in the sugar. And when we did this with Lindsay, we said putting on snow. All right, I'm not going to put all of it in right now because I want to see how it blends together. You can kind of tell when it gets towards the ends if you've got enough sugar by how much juices are developing in it, because sugar, when it dissolves, gets liquid. So that's a good way of telling too. But of course, what's important is the taste. So I'm mixing it in here. And you can kind of see that all the orange is getting mixed in. By the time we're done, you won't even see any orange color. You'll see the orange bits. All right. Do some more. Now, I know I'm probably going to use the whole 2 cups because that's the way we've always done it. We've never had to change it any. Mix it together. Who knows? Maybe if I changed it some, I'd like it. But I don't make it for me. I make it for other family members. And starting to look pretty good. Pretty well blended. Let's go ahead, put the rest of the sugar in. Since I'm not going to eat it, I don't care if it's too sweet or not sweet enough. But every time we've made it, my brother seems to love it. I say my brother, both my parents passed away. Mom passed away just a couple of years ago at the age of 94. She lived with me. And so when I'd make this Thanksgiving and Christmas, she'd be sitting there with me, and she would be putting the cranberries in, and be taking sample test of it as we went along, as we get to the end. Now, what we're going to do, and I don't measure it, is 4 or 5 shakes of salt. Now, you don't want to taste any salt. We're putting salt in something is going to kill the bitterness. Yeah, some people put they find beer is has a bitterness to it. They'll sprinkle a little salt in it. I'm not a beer drinker, but I've done that before. I will drink beer, but kind of smooth it out. All right, I'll take a little taste. Tastes good. Now, when you take a taste of it now, let me wash this since I had it in my mouth. What do I care? They're not going to know. Okay, as I was saying, if you take a taste of it now, after you've just mixed it, you'll notice that the sugar is still a little granulated. But you're going to put it in the refrigerator overnight. I got a new spoon. I didn't wash that other one. Didn't want to take the time to wash it. So I'll get a new spoon. But that's what it looks like. Oop, almost poured it out. Now put it in the refrigerator covered. And tomorrow, you won't notice any of the granulation of the sugar because it's all going to meld together. And that's how you make Cran Goo Goo. Hope you enjoyed it. Try it and let me know how you like it. Thank you.